Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We all have them. Those disagreements, the
Yeah,
arguments. Yeah. They pop up even in the best relationships.
for sure.
And today we're diving into those. We're going to figure out how to make those clashes a little less, well, clashy.
Right.
And we're going to be using this great source we found, 5 tips for handling frequent arguments in a relationship.
Oh, nice.
Because let's be honest, arguing, it's
Yeah.
going to happen.
It's inevitable. Yeah.
But knowing how to handle it well, that's the superpower we're all looking for.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting is that those really heated moments, like those surface arguments,
Yeah?
they often reveal something way deeper.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So-
Think of those blowups as smoke signals. There's a fire somewhere, but you have to look beneath the surface to find the real source.
Yeah, it's like that saying, the loudest person in the room is often the most insecure. So first things first, tip number 1 from the article. It's all about identifying the root cause. Any advice on how to start that excavation project, to really figure out what's driving those recurring arguments?
Well, think of it like detective work,
Okay.
right? Start noticing patterns. Are you always arguing about the same things? Maybe it's chores, but underneath, are you really arguing about feeling unappreciated or a lack of support?
Oh.
Yeah. So I always recommend grab a notebook, jot down your observations after those disagreements. You might be surprised at what comes up.
Okay, so that's making notes after the argument has cooled down.
Right.
Which actually brings us perfectly to tip number 2,
Okay.
taking breaks during those heated moments.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a confession. My personal go-to is hiding in the pantry.
Oh.
I just need 5 minutes of peace with a bag of chips. What are some healthier strategies?
Well, that chips can be comforting. A walk is probably a better bet.
Yeah, probably.
But seriously, though, the key is recognizing when things are getting too heated.
Mm-hmm.
That's your cue to step back, cool down, and, avoid saying things you might regret.
Right.
It's not about avoiding the conversation completely. It's about creating space to return with a clearer mind.
Okay, so not hiding in the pantry. Got it.
Yeah, well, you can take your chips on a walk.
There you go. All right, so once we've cooled down, how do we actually talk about these things constructively?
Mm-hmm.
Our source suggests I statements, which is tip number 3. It sounds simple, but I imagine it takes practice.
It does, yeah. But it's worth the effort.
Okay.
I statements really help you express your feelings without pointing fingers.
Right.
So instead of saying you always leave your clothes on the floor,
Yeah.
you could try I feel frustrated and disrespected when clothes are left on the floor.
Oh,
So it shifts the focus from blame to understanding.
I see. It's like learning a new language, right?
It is.
But once you master it, it can totally transform your communication.
Right.
And speaking of transformation, tip number 4 is all about focusing on solutions. How do we move from all that you did this, I feel that, to actually fixing things?
Yeah. It's a mindset shift.
Okay.
It's about moving from blame mode to problem solving mode. And remember, you're on the same team. Yeah. So instead of getting stuck in the who's right, who's wrong battle,
Right?
try brainstorming solutions together. What can we both do differently next time?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Framing it as a we problem.
exactly.
Okay, and finally, tip number 5, which I think is super important, seeking professional help if needed.
Yes,
There's no shame in getting some extra support, right?
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. If you're finding that the same arguments keep happening,
Yep.
or if you're struggling to communicate effectively despite your best efforts, a therapist can provide a really safe space to work through these challenges. It's like having a relationship coach in your corner.
Exactly. Think of it as an investment in your relationship.
Right.
So wrapping up, it seems like handling arguments effectively is less about never disagreeing
Yeah.
and more about learning how to disagree well.
You nailed it. It's about turning those clashes into opportunities for growth and understanding.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. How can you apply these tips, not just to resolve arguments, but to prevent them from happening in the first place? Something to think about as you navigate the beautiful, messy world of relationships.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.